So today we're going to have a short podcast, or let's say chat, with our sort of developers at the moment. We've got on the call Raha, Gunnar, and Saif, basically working with Bikal on various different projects, obviously out of UAE, so it comes under our subsidiary, our joint venture, Al Bikal. So the idea of today is obviously we're taking, I think, three people who are sort of finished their education, their computer science degrees, and are going to be moving into the real world of development and looking at applications. So I think we'll start with some quick introductions.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Raha Habib and I'm 22 years old, currently staying in Abu Dhabi in my final year of university. And I'm working with Bikal for the past 4 months, and I've been working on the project UXG.
Right. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for hosting this podcast. So, my name is Mohammed Saif Ahmed, and I recently graduated with a degree in computer science from the University of Wollongong, same as Raha. So, I graduated back in December 2024, and then I got the opportunity to intern at Bikal, and I'm working with the Bikal CRM chatbot as an AI engineer.
Hi everyone, I'm Gunnar Challa, a fourth year BTech student in Mathematics and Computing at IIT Roper, India. Uh, I've been really interested in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And over the past few months, I've been working as an AI engineer intern at Bikal. I'm working on related side projects right now.
Okay, thank you. That's good. So I think like I said, the idea is as very young people, going into your transitioning from your studies into work life, perhaps we can expand on what you studied and also now what you're working on.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I'm studying computer science, and right now I'm working as an AI engineer, and I'm working on a machine learning project that helps basically assess your eye scans, and you get to know what diseases you have. Basically, the model learns based on the data sets that it has, and then it accordingly if you have any disease or not. So that's a really exciting project I have been working on.
And just in terms of your studies, then, did you do machine vision in your studies?
Not really, not really. To be honest, right now they have added courses into it, but as I'm already graduating, I'm done with all my courses. But as you know, you can't really get the same experience as you get in uni as compared to internship. Internships actually give you a real life vision of how things actually work, and you get involved in certain projects. So that's really good.
Safe, how about you?
Yeah, so for myself, I studied computer science and I didn't really have a specific major. So it was computer science as a theory. So I was exposed to different disciplines. So I had a hands-on touch to cybersecurity, a bit of machine learning as well, algorithms and data structures. So my degree plan was spread around different disciplines and, very math heavy and a lot of statistical classes as well. So I really did not know which path to pursue. I was confused between cybersecurity or should I go for AI? And then I got the opportunity to intern as an AI engineer. And I was very skeptical at first. I was like, will I be able to do this? But thanks to Mike and the mentorship, I really got a hands-on with this experience. And now I'm very sure that I want to go for AI and machine learning in the future as well.
How about you, Gunnar?
Uh, as for me, my course is mathematics and computer science. As I've mentioned before, my curriculum deals with heavy mathematics, as I've mentioned before. It deals with statistics and probability. More of it acts as a basis for learning machine learning or artificial intelligence. So, in a way that I can say that it has helped me in actually understanding different machine learning algorithms or uh, different applications of what I'm doing right now. But this transition into real world applications has been really a lot. Like I experienced different things, and due to good mentorship of Michael sir, it has been a very great journey so far. And as per the project I am doing right now, it includes structuring and cleaning of different case studies and making them into graph database, and it making it efficient to retrieve the data from them. So it has been a very good journey. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not technical, right? And the work that you do with Michael is obviously a lot more scientific, a lot more technical, and you've had some exposure, obviously, to the other members in the company. What I think is interesting is what we find when we give certain tasks, and obviously these and, especially when you first start work, is to obviously get you involved straight away, right? So the challenge statements, I think, if you can talk about the challenge statements, how have they helped you to understand the real world of what is out there? Did you imagine that that's the sort of thing that you would need to work on? Saif, let's go with you first on that.
Right. So obviously, AI has been a very hot topic these days, and it's a discipline that has been recently showcased even in our university as well. So I didn't really expect the work that I'm doing right now is something that I would be doing. Like if I imagined myself 2 years ago, would I be working very technically and building chatbots, a smart chatbot that would really help people with their productivity and all that good stuff. So I was not really expecting that I'd be working with these type of things, but I'm really glad that I got into this. And when I exposed myself with these technologies, I understood that these type of technologies that are out there, and the open source community as well. Everyone is helping each other build the next big thing as well. Even in Bikal, we have so many open sources that we see so many developers around the world who have published in the open source community, and we can always use that to make sure that the work that we are doing is more productive, and the outcome is also way above the expectation as well. So yeah, I would say that at the state right now, and I do see that in the future there will be more technologies that we will have to adapt with. But yeah, I think it's adapting that really counts, in our day and age. As young individuals, we need to adapt as soon as possible when the new big thing comes out.
That's a very good point. I think you made this, Saif, is obviously within the closed unit. I'm not saying the university is closed, but within the classroom and the people that you interact with, you're going to have a certain limitation, just because obviously the way that environment is. It's an open environment for ideas, but you're not going to be able to interact with people outside of the university as much as maybe, like now you have to obviously talk to other developers. Raha, have you experienced the same thing in terms of, obviously that's more of a change, isn't it? Where you have a professor, you might have your friends you're working with, and now you have to talk to strangers. Obviously, even obviously Safe, but obviously even interacting internally. That must have been a big change, and obviously useful one, I hope.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree with you guys. It has been a bigger change, and that is what is necessary. And it gives you a real life experience of how things actually are. In university, it's very different and really straightforward. You already know the people you're working with, you already know your professors on a day-to-day basis. But when you actually start working, it's really different as opposed to university. And
Well, you can't just say different. What do you mean? You can't just say different. What do you mean different? Good different, bad different?
It's a good change, I would say. It makes you leave your comfort zone, interact with different people. Like I actually had a meeting with a domain expert of the project, so that was new for me as well. And
he's
that
a doctor, right? He's a medical doctor.
he's a medical doctor at GMU University, and he was really nice. And yeah, so that's what it allows you to meet new people as well, see their work and interact with each other, what work they're doing. So it's really nice.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. So when it comes to product development, when it comes to the application side, obviously you're dealing with the I stuff. Obviously, the Safe is dealing with more with the internal workings of a company. Gunnar, you've been operating on the public sector one for the UK, which is not something you're used to. Obviously being in India, you're a student. Obviously, you're doing your mathematics, and now we've thrown you into something which is, it's applicable to some small city in northern in the UK, right? So that obviously is different, right? To you would never have had that experience or that level of challenge statement to work on, right?
Yeah. That is what this is all about, right? What I've been experiencing is that we can see I have studied different courses and we do a lot of stuff. They say it's the basis of everything. The math is base of everything. We should do math. The start. This is everything. Even from the start, from a very young age, they say that math is everything, right? Now I get to see what I've studied math for, right? I've seen all this math, and now I get to apply this, right?
Apply, right.
Yeah, this is what this gives me happiness. Like it's exciting every day. A new challenge pops up, and I get to tackle that, and I get to do some work on that. I get to apply the things I've studied up until now. So, in a way, it's a very great experience.
Yeah. So that's I think that's a good point. I mean, obviously, like I say, mathematics, the basis of your study now, and I think that working hard in your study now, the good thing is you're able to apply it. As I think, as you said, it's now the applied science part. You can see it being formed, and we're not just talking that you're applying it to get a research result. You're looking to get a theoretical result. It's actually going to be used in the field, right? You're going to be working with doctors, whether it be business people, whether it be social workers. Your application is going to be applied somewhere. The thing that we haven't been able to work on is some of the ideation, because again, I think maybe that's a bit early to put that pressure on you. I think the ideation on technology is not a bad thing, because obviously, again, that's something you have to explore. You have to go very wide. You're talking to other people. So on the software side, that's definitely an interesting bit. How has your experience been? And we'll go with you, Gunnar. How's your experience been with anything around Lenovo, NVIDIA, Intel? Obviously, the hardware component is important to AI, but in university, you don't really deal with it apart from your laptop, right? You're doing experiments off your laptop. You may have a desktop, but obviously, we now operate, accelerated compute. We have, access to various courses and things like that. Has that been helpful? How has that been in part of your work?
Yeah. As for the courses they offer, the certification courses, or you can say they have been very useful for me, mostly to convert into something like applications which make the lives easier, and the stuff we have been doing. These courses helped me transition from a student into like more of a professional, we can say that, right? It's helped me a lot.
So what about you, Raha? Have you been on some of these videos and webinars, and how have they been?
Yeah, they have been really great. I've actually attended one yesterday. It was a seminar about how AI and LLMs are changing, how fast they're adapting and evolving. And I also had the pleasure of completing a certification from NVIDIA about the LLMs. And it has been a really nice opportunity as well. They constantly bring out new certifications and courses, and they make you AI literate. It's a good opportunity for everybody to actually be able to take advantage of those courses, irrespective of the fact if you are into AI or not. You don't have to be an AI engineer, or you don't have to be even in a computer science field, but everybody should go out there and explore courses and be AI literate.
AI literate, yes. Everyone's talking about you must have AI in
Yeah.
your job somewhere. I mean, the good thing is, like I say, working with domain experts, you understand how the world is changing, right? So you've got a doctor who's looking at it. Gunnar's been talking to a social worker who's been using it. So I am surprised. I didn't realize that the NVIDIA courses or the Intel ones or whichever ones you've been on help you to understand. I think Gunnar made a good point. It helped him to be more professional. So with students, anyone graduating recently, that awakening that you have to show up on time. There's a set amount of time you have to be there and things like that. Is obviously a good one. And then, so Saif, how about you? You obviously, I know you've been on again on some of these courses, and you've introduced one or two, I think, to the group as well. Obviously they have libraries, right? There's all these services within the NVIDIA services that they have and things like that. Have they been useful? Would they have been useful to you maybe 2 years ago, even while you were studying?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, these courses, like basically they changed my perspective. Basically, when it comes to AI, this made me realize that infrastructure is so important. You're running all of these models, and it would not be possible without a proper infrastructure. So these courses really opened my mind, and it opened my mind to this level where, infrastructure is the baseline to all of this. Obviously, in university, when we were doing the work in our laptop, we never knew what was going on behind the scene. And yeah, it's just that these courses kind of give you a bit of a perspective that when you are working with an AI model, when you're building, when you're developing, the engineers behind it, when it comes to the infrastructure, they are very, very crucial for this. And yeah, these courses have been very valuable in terms of, opening up your mind and, just seeing things in a different way.
So
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
so that's something perhaps maybe you're sort of offering to go back to the university and maybe explain, maybe do a session with the students at the moment. Maybe I mean the whole idea is how can you feed back right into where you were 2 years ago. The world is changing quickly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so chips and processors and even Microsoft, I think was it today, have hit 4 trillion valuations. The tech world is rapidly expanding as well as changing all the time, and I think and I can tell you, in the transitional, you haven't experienced it in what we've given you, but there's a transition from IT to science. So the IT processes that have been holding the world together for the last 20 something years, that's now transitioning into science. So what is maybe more natural to you is new to somebody who's in their mid 30s, maybe mid 40s, still working and doing an IT position. So you guys obviously are the new generation, and you're building these new things. And I think what you've got is, hopefully, well, to you it might be normal. What you've basically been doing is you've been building and learning as you go. So I think and Gunnar and I had this situation, and I think this was again the student versus the real life mentality issue. He did a load of work. We showed it to domain expert. Domain expert didn't like it, and I had to persuade Gunnar. Look, you might have spent 10 hours on this, but you got to delete it. Not delete it, but you can't use it anymore, right? So, but that's a cost that's built into the real world. You're not hitting an exam where you have to be ready on that day, and whatever you've done, that's what you got to do. So in terms of level of invention, that's what you're missing a little bit. That's a bit hard for us to do at this stage sometimes. But I don't know if anyone can talk about whether there's been any ideation. I know Michael's obviously guided a lot there, but are there any questions that you have almost as to how Dialogue XR started, how Relate XI started, how View XG started? I can tell you now from a business perspective, we only start from challenge statement. We see a problem. Can you define it? Can you get data behind it? Can you put a value to it? And then you try to do stuff. And that I can tell you now, that's a different way that the world is, hasn't done it in the past. And that's where the opportunity lies for you guys, which is a bit unfortunate because at the moment, those jobs don't really exist apart from with us.
I agree. Yeah, that's true.
So it'd be interesting to see how you would, what was your job? What was your idea of what a job would look like? I think that would be interesting to see what maybe you heard from other things, or did you say, or do you understand that AI is going to be completely new, and you were out to explore? I don't know, Raha, if you've got an opinion on that.
Well, this was actually not that I expected when I first got into this, and I'm actually happy that I did because I'm simultaneously learning about AI, and that is really different from other jobs. You know how some jobs are really monotonous and you're just sitting on your desk and doing the mundane tasks, every task. Over here, what we have these exciting projects where we are adding value to it, at the same time learning from it and creating different products and things as we go along. So it's challenging and exciting at the same time, is what I would say about this. And then,
There's failure, right? There's mistake,
yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah.
And that can be something which and I think Gunnar, we can talk openly about it. We had this call with the domain expert. He wasn't happy for a number of reasons, but the idea was he didn't understand either exactly what was needed for an AI product development. So the expectation management can be very hard in how things are changing now. So, you know, ChatGPT, everyone compares it to ChatGPT. Okay, yeah, ChatGPT has 500,000 GPU cards. We're trying to run this application. I mean, we have more than one, but we're trying to make a cost-efficient, optimized model on one GPU. So it's going to need different types of training, different types of fine-tuning. So that expectation, you haven't come across that yet. But obviously, the idea, obviously, the first podcast, I think this is the first podcast you guys have ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
First one, right? So the idea is, how do we get you to transmit to the world what you do, how you do it, accept the mistakes that are going to happen. Unfortunately, these things will happen. But the experimentation thing, I think that's one thing with universities, is that they hopefully do teach you to some degree about questioning and experimentation. So what happens in traditional jobs is you're giving a list and here you go do it. Here, we're trying to say to you, we want to get to this outcome. To get to this outcome, what do we need to do? And that's where your ideation should come into. So I don't know if anyone sort of want to expand on that. I don't know, Saif, if you've got any sort of thoughts behind that or any questions behind that.
Yes. So can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, no. So like I say, when you have this type of situation, we're saying to you, here's a challenge statement. Okay, here's a challenge statement. We want this outcome from it. How you get to that outcome is down to you to design and experiment. Obviously, Michael has given you certain steps to work on, and the domain expert will also give you some steps.
Yeah.
But the domain expert has an expectation because they're obviously a bit older. They may not understand how AI works, right? So your job basically becomes, here's the end outcome along that journey. And I said, you know, Gunnar and I had this last week, is where the domain expert wasn't aligned with us. That's
right.
Right? We didn't communicate it, right? We didn't communicate. So how do you find that? I think Raha mentioned quite, you know, in a good way, that the learning side and the doing side and the learning side, which is great for your own mental capacity, but how do you cope with that when you haven't got, you know, a set job role to say go and do this? We want you to ideate, you know.
Yeah. So basically, I would say it's more about experimenting with different tools and coming up not with just one solution, coming up with multiple solutions. I would say like 2 to 3 solutions, and experimenting with that and basically getting feedback from other people. So for example, in our case, it would be getting feedback from the internal employees, how this tool is working. So I would say to just experiment around with whatever is available and not just to stick with one solution. You know, you can always brainstorm and research a bit more. For example, when it comes to large language models, there's one model that might be performing better, but it's more costly compared to another model which has the same performance, but it's more cost effective. So this is one of my personal things that I discovered during my work. Is when I was experimenting with models, one of them was more cost effective to the GPU. So now the outcome is in the business point of view, we need to make a cost-effective solution. So yeah, I would conclude by saying that you need to experiment around with different tools and come up with a few solutions, not just one. So the domain expert might be happy with one of them. So you have more choices.
That's a fair point. Yeah, the challenge statement will dictate if something is needed in real time. You need to do 20 GPUs, or you only need one CPU or something like that. So that's the good point. Okay, so look, to finish, knowing what you know now, if you're still in in your second year, third year, is there anything you would have done different alongside your studies? Gunnar, you can go first. Is there anything different you would have done if you were still in your second year?
I would say not just focus on just learning stuff, but more on put more time into experimenting and more like getting to know other people and getting to know their works and interacting with them, making our understanding better by interacting in different seminars or webinars like that, and different workshops in your college, and build more stuff. even if it fails, it teaches us, right? Even if 10 projects fail, we get some more ideas and we get to experiment more. At some point, if you turn back and see, we have got like more than 10, even if the previous 10 failed, we have got all those experiences from them, right? So that would be great if I were to turn back to my previous self.
No, that's a good point. We when it comes to CVs, we very rarely look at the course or anything. We usually go see if they got a GitHub. So that's a very good point, and I think that is what will change in terms of tech development and things. You want somebody, ideally, I can tell you now, if you've got a strong GitHub and a decent social media presence where you can hear someone talk and explain or try to explain. I always say, if you look at someone like Elon Musk, some of his presentations aren't the best. You have to really listen. He's not dynamic or super exciting, but because he talks about what he's doing, and if you're focused on the subject area, you can learn a lot. So same thing I would say to engineers. Go on, Saif. What would you do if you were studying in your second year now? Anything different?
Yeah, so I would say if I was in my second year, I would basically do more courses, such as the NVIDIA courses and whatever courses are available. I would just do a bit more learning. That would be the first thing that I would do. Second thing is I would definitely expose myself to more seminars and, attending whatever tech events or even general events that are happening in, let's say, Dubai or Abu Dhabi. I would definitely expose myself in that field as well. And as Guna mentioned, like I would try to experiment more with building projects. If you have an idea, just try to build it out, and even if you fail, at least you get to learn about the technical stuff. And one of the things that I learned like in the previous month is you need to understand the business point of view as well. A good engineer would know the business point of view as well and the technical part as well. So and finally, I would mention, since AI is moving really fast too, for current second year students, I would give one advice is I would suggest them to read at least 15 minutes every day to read the AI news and whatever is happening in the AI tech scene. And that's something that I would recommend.
Yeah, no, so I think you made a good point there. It's what's happening in the business side. But a lot of interns that come, I remember that we had a group of interns and they had all Apple equipment. And I asked them, do you know about how much Apple is worth? They had no clue. They didn't know they didn't have an idea on strategy or nothing. They were technical, but literally they had no exposure to the business side. So that's something which the universities are less likely to do. You have to find that out yourself. So that's a good point. And last but not least, Raha, what would you do if you were in university, your second year?
Yeah. I would give the advice that to put yourself out there, to not be nervous, and to take or grasp as many opportunities as you can, because that will ultimately make you learn about different experiences. Like if there's a hackathon happening, don't feel that you're underprepared or you don't know much. You're still in your first year, right? You don't have that technicalities going on. But I would suggest to put yourself there, network with as many people as you can on LinkedIn, see what work they're doing, if they're in the same field as you, what courses have they done, and attend seminars. Basically put yourself out there, and there would be less judgment from a university student. Nobody would judge you harshly, because they would know that you are a student, and if you mess up also, that wouldn't be a problem as well, because you're still learning, you're still young.
I like to say in business, I'll tell you what, sometimes in business I would say 70% is showing up. As long as you show up and you do and you're there, that will cover a lot. So we do have lots of people who don't show up. It's a good point. I was actually talking to Gunnar about the social media before, and it's that starting phase. I'm picking on Gunnar a lot today, but the idea is that I said to him, I said, look, you got to post. If you don't post, you get 3 followers, get 30 followers, then you get 300 followers. You have to start from somewhere. And I think you would also, and I think you've made a good point, Raha, is in business the mistakes are fine, because anything that you say can either be down as an idea first. So it's not going to be wrong or right? So you might say, I've got this idea, or, I want to suggest something. And someone might say, well, that doesn't work. As long as you're not sensitive to somebody saying, oh, that's not going to work, or I can't see how that's going to work, then it's fine. So, yes, I think definitely that exposure. And there's a lot of the AI festivals and GITEX and things like that, where I think every year there's probably 2 or 3. You don't have to go every week or anything like that. Like I said, the online ones are good. I think the Silicon Valley, the San Francisco, the Californian ones that happen with NVIDIA. Timing can be a bit of a problem, but it's worth it. I don't think there's been a bad sort of NVIDIA session as well. So yeah, that's very interesting. So yeah, again, I think you should feed that back to your professors. They may pull you in to speak to the other students. So yeah. So unless there's anyone's got any other sort of points to add to this, we'll conclude it for today. Anything else?
Yeah, so it was very interesting. So back in February, Raha and I, we basically went to a tech event, AI Everything. And, we were like, we're going to network with as many vendors as possible. And that's where we met Michael. And, we were like, I was a graduate, so I was looking for opportunities, So I talked to Michael. I was like, are there any openings or any internships? And Michael was kind enough to give his email address, and he set up an interview. And thankfully, the next month, I got this offer. So yeah, I would say, I would agree, exposing yourself to seminars. You never know, when you show up, as you mentioned, 70% of the time, if you show up,
Sure.
an opportunity might be there for you. And that's what happened with us. And I'm really glad for that.
And that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So so cool. Yeah, Raha, was you going to add anything?
I was just about to say that it's better to do something and regret it rather than not doing it and then regret it later. That's the motto that I live by.
So you have a lot of regrets that you didn't do stuff, but you didn't know.
Not really.
Oh, right.
Keeps on motivating me to take those steps and
Yeah.
to put myself out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, cool. Sounds good. So hopefully this is maybe one of a few more that we'll do over the next 3-4 weeks, 3-4 months. Hopefully, see how things pan out. But yeah, no, thanks for today, and we speak soon.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.